Well, that was quite the Nintendo Direct. I wasn't expecting there to really be any Zelda news, but we ended up getting quite a bit. And of course, the biggest announcement was a brand new Zelda spin-off game, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. This is a follow-up to the Nintendo Switch's Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, and it's a spin-off that allows you to play out the memories that we witness in Tears of the Kingdom. As with the other Hyrule Warriors games, it'll be a Muso or Warriors type game that focuses on fighting pitched battles and slaying hundreds of enemies at a time, using big combos and a variety of different characters. So I want to break this video into 3 parts. First, what we definitively know about Age of Imprisonment. Second, what we can reasonably deduce. And third, I want to speculate about some stuff. So what do we definitively know? To start right off the bat, Age of Imprisonment is going to be canon. And this isn't me being hopeful or reading into something that isn't there. It literally says as much in a press kit statement provided to websites by Nintendo. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment is the newest title in the Hyrule Warriors series and is developed by Koei Tecmo Games with support from Nintendo. The game features epic battles against hordes of enemies as it tells the untold story from Hyrule's distant past of the Imprisoning War that ultimately led to the events of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Fans of the Legend of Zelda series can experience the thrill of battle and this canonical tale featuring Princess Zelda, King Rauru, and other familiar characters. It looks like Nintendo heard the feedback on Age of Calamity's ending loud and clear and will be avoiding any alternate endings this time around. Much like Age of Calamity, Age of Imprisonment will take place during the time period experienced during the memories in Tears of the Kingdom, with Princess Zelda sent back in time and arriving during the reign of the original Kingdom of Hyrule and the initial struggle with Ganondorf. The game will showcase the war against Ganondorf and all of his evil minions. We know a few confirmed characters. Princess Zelda is of course playable, and once again seems to be the protagonist of the plot. She has a moveset that seems to focus around using an energy sword that seems to be imbued with energy from her secret stone and using her powers to almost telekinetically move it. We see a really cool ability where she unloads a combo on the enemy and then uses recall to basically do the exact same combo in reverse. She then finishes off with a massive push of energy. That is an extremely clever idea for a moveset. Rauru is playable. He wields a mighty spear that radiates energy, and he seems to be somewhat similar to King Rome in Age of Calamity, in the sense that he's a slow character with wide, sweeping attacks. We see him with a big 3-hit sweeping combo, as well as a special attack that allows him to toss his spear in an arc, annihilating enemies in his path. Minoru is also confirmed to be playable, and it seems as though she moves about by riding a Zonai device. It looks like a homing cart. There is precedent for this, including Princess Zelda riding the Master Cycle and Riju riding her Sand Seals in Age of Calamity. We don't see any of Minoru's standard attacks, but one of her specials features her construct unloading on the enemy. Sonia, Ganondorf, and the Sages are also all in the game, but we don't see them fighting. As for enemies, we see Rauru facing off against Stalfos and Bokoblins with the horns busting from their heads, same as in Tears of the Kingdom, as well as a boss Bokoblin, and Hinox of both the alive and undead variety. We also see Minoru fighting a Phrox, and Zelda fighting a Lynel. We see that battles will take place both over land and in the depths. So now let's enter the realm of deduction. What about characters that will probably be playable even if we don't see them here? Well, I think all of the characters shown will be playable, which means Sonia, Ganondorf, and all 4 sages. Sonia has an in-game model, and although we don't really see her in action in Tears of the Kingdom, that's never stopped Hyrule Warriors before. This is the franchise that developed an entire moveset for Agatha after all. I imagine her moveset will heavily base around magic, and she could potentially be a healing type character, similar to Mipha in Age of Calamity. The 4 sages will absolutely be playable, if for no other reason than the fact that the game needs to fill out the roster. I imagine each of them will have a moveset relatively similar to that of the champions and descendants in Age of Calamity. I'm also excited because this is an opportunity for those characters to actually, well, become characters. Tears of the Kingdom did the sages incredibly dirty. They were absolute nothing burger characters, and we might actually get a chance to spend some time with them now. If this is a canon title that genuinely is developing the story, we might even get a chance to learn their names or maybe even see their faces. It's a stretch, but it's entirely possible. And of course, Ganondorf. It's almost a guarantee that he'll be playable, as playable villains have been a core part of both Hyrule Warriors games and most Warriors games in general. Perhaps it'll be like Age of Calamity, where he's unlockable, or maybe part of the story will allow you to play as him as in the first Hyrule Warriors. But I think his candidacy as a playable character is basically a guarantee, and I can't wait for that. His moveset will probably utilize his katana as well as his magic, and I can foresee him being a quick and brutal fighter. He's going to be very fun to play as. Now into the entirely speculatory. The first thing I want to talk about is the dragons. What do we think the over-under is on them being playable in some form or fashion? I know it doesn't seem likely due to how absolutely massive they are, but this is the same franchise that allowed us to play as Ganon himself, as well as the massive divine beasts. So I feel like a mode allowing us to play as Princess Zelda or Ganondorf in their dragon forms really isn't that outside of the realm of possibility, and I think it could be really cool. The other thing that I'm really curious about is what other characters are we going to see? Tears of the Kingdom has something of a character problem. With Breath of the Wild, it was pretty easy to sort out because all of the characters who exist in the current storyline either exist in the past as well because they're old Sheikah, or they have descendants who kind of serve the same function. So there were a lot of characters to work with in Age of Calamity. But in Tears of the Kingdom, that's not really the case. There aren't that many characters at all. Even taking Princess Zelda, Sonia, Minoru, Rauru, and the champions, I'm not counting Ganondorf as he's probably unlocked afterwards. We're at 8 characters, which is a paltry number for a Warriors game, and they will definitely have more, but how and who? Well, there's a few ways they can go about this. One way would be for more time shenanigans that bring the descendants or champions back in time to help. And this seems to be hinted at by the fact that a run of amiibo for the descendants were announced alongside Age of Imprisonment, but I don't think that it's likely. If Nintendo and Koei heard the Age of Calamity criticism enough to make sure that they specified that this game is strictly canon, then I'm sure they're aware of how much people disliked the Deus Ex Machina time travel shenanigans as well. I do think the descendants will be playable, but they'll be non-canon unlockables that can be earned after the story. Which means they're probably going to have to make up some new characters to fill the roster gap, and I think that's kind of fun to think about. The Hyrule Warriors games have a pretty good track record when it comes to making brand new characters. Sela and Lana are both awesome, Linkle is god tier, Volga is a really cool villain, and all of the young versions of characters in Age of Calamity are all really cool, especially the love of my life, Impa. So I implicitly trust Koei to come up with some awesome new characters, especially if they're working in conjunction with Nintendo. Secondly, I want to talk about a small little moment that happened early in the trailer. It's after Princess Zelda appears in the past and is found by Rauru and Sonia. She starts walking with them, and it seems to be entirely in gameplay, not a cutscene. I know this is a strange thing to hone in on, but just like walking alongside an ally is not really part of the Hyrule Warriors gameplay repertoire for the most part, and it makes me think that we might be getting something new, like perhaps Hyrule Castle will serve as like a hub area where some of the story is told, and you'll have slightly different gameplay while you're in the hub area. Fire Emblem Three Hopes kind of did something similar. Either way, it just caught my eye because it felt very distinct from how other Warriors games usually control. I think the idea of more story-focused gameplay parts is actually a really exciting potential addition. And the last thing I'm really curious about is what role the Gerudo are going to play in the story. We very briefly see the Gerudo in the memories in Tears of the Kingdom, but they really don't factor that heavily into Ganondorf's story, and I'm interested if that's going to change now. Are we going to spend significant amount of time slaughtering Gerudo armies while they're still subservient to Ganondorf? Part of me thinks probably not, but I suppose you never know. It would be pretty interesting to see. From what we see, it primarily looks like we're doing battle with demons, but it's just going to be really interesting to see how the Gerudo turn out. And that's all I've got. This video was released before any of the Treehouse showcases, so if anything is shown there that immediately invalidates this video, I apologize. But this is everything off my chest regarding Age of Imprisonment. I'm a massive fan of the Hyrule Warriors series, so I can't wait for this one. and I'm happy it seems as though they're taking steps to address issues that people had with Age of Calamity, even if they weren't issues that I personally had. How about you? Do you like what you see? Will you be buying Age of Imprisonment? Are you now more interested now that it's explicitly canon? Please be sure to let us know in the comments below, and as always, stay safe out there. It's dangerous to go alone.